minute. He's just said something that just made me think about something else. Okay. Now that's how your brain works throughout the day, but you don't allow it. Women allow it, and if you notice, they could be 6 and 12 different places, and have you doing 6 and 12 different things, whereas you want to focus and
Women are
do.
good at multitasking.
Yes, they
Yeah,
call it multitasking, but it's because their attention span has to be that way because of the fact that they're mothers.
right.
They have to be right now, and they have to be very cogent about everything going on around them because the baby needs to be eaten. They got to do this, they got to do that. Whereas you set the stage for them to have all the things that they need so that they can be that. That's what makes a happy woman. A
Yeah.
woman gets happy when she's a mother and she has every resource she needs to do whatever she has to do.
Mhm.
Because you have to. Why you think? Why you think the African men they used to go and they used to see? They used to come. The Europeans used to go into Africa and they used to see in the tribes the men be just sitting around and the women doing all the work. Because if you weren't doing all the work, they will be causing chaos.
Mm.
So a lot of people are saying, well, you sound a little bit, yes, I am. I am sexist. I'm very sexist. Why are you sexist, Dr. Valentine? Because I'm a heterosexual. And I don't want any women doing my work. I don't want any women telling me that, what it is to be a man. I will define that space. I know I'm drifting again, but everything is relative at this particular time because I may sound because it's a full moon, and this is when all the crazies come out. I'm addressing all the crazies right now. I'm taking you into all these places because this is where everybody's thinking. There's all these different things going on.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's get back to whatever you want me to talk about now.
So, I mean, all right. Just a couple of more questions till we get into the currency aspect. It's just this has been so amazing so far that I couldn't even get to the next part of the show yet. Um, let's go here.
Hmm.
Uh, somebody made a comment early in the chat. That about two more questions or what? Somebody made a comment early in the chat. There's a brother that I know on YouTube. I don't know him, but I've seen a brother on YouTube say that stars are water. There's a brother by the name of Dodo the Pilot Man. Shout out to that brother. He's a good brother. But yeah, he said stars are water. So somebody commented on that. So I just wanted to bring that up. What's your thoughts on stars being water?
Well, he may have seen one of my lectures
Mhm.
from a few years ago. Stars are in water.
In water.
Yeah. And what you're looking at is sound waves bouncing off of the dome in the form of what is known as sonoluminescence.
Mhm.
Sonoluminescence, if you look at a star, if you were to take a powerful telescope and zoom in on where they tell you that Venus or Mars is, you
Mhm.
will see that it's a pulsating orb that's just floating around. There is no solid. What they show you in NASA is a lie.
Mhm.
Planets are from the Greek word planetai, which means wanderer. So you can't say that a wanderer is in an orbit. That's not wandering. That's you being in a fixed orbit. But a true planet is a wanderer, and if you look at it, it's just simply out there in the water, like jellyfish,
Mhm.
floating in a particular pattern at a particular area of the dome.
Mhm.
As I said back in 1980, 89, 1990, that we are under a compressed hydrogen dome.
Mhm.
And everybody said, compressed hydrogen? Hydrogen is the first element. How do you get it to reflect anything? Well, the creator has a master plan. And it is that this isolated space that we're in is on an infinite plane where there are billions of different domes. And the so called aliens that you see, the ships, are coming in from these places. And if they're going to Mars and to Venus, all these places, they're actually going outside of the dome through specific doorways based upon certain uh, relative uh, treaties and agreements that they've made with those of a greater higher intelligence. The Nazis actually were in charge or in touch with these people, but they were from a more of a malevolent set of civilization. But there
Mm.
are other civilizations, and the Moors knew about it. There's a Moor by the name of Piri that wrote about Antarctica and the lands beyond Antarctica, but they never tell you about that. Your boy Admiral Perry went out next to the dome and was flown through it.
The Animal and Bird, you mean?
Bird,
Yeah, Bird. Yeah.
right? He came back, and they took his life.
Yeah.
They shut him down.
He said there was a Crystal City.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we are yet to see what's really going on, but we are on a plane that is densified, and it's heated. It's heated at the bottom, and it's iced at the top, so that we can't get out of that because these two elements, and that's where the Vikings talk about fire and ice, and this particular this worm that they speak about, the worm. That worm was the Antarctic that circled our plane of existence, that circled our world. I forgot the name of the worm, the Volodymyr worm. But if a European is listening to this, he might know what that is. If he's a Viking, he knows what that's about. But like I said, the reality that we're in, that we're existing in, is nothing like what they keep giving us in NASA.
Mhm.
And you see me with my T-shirts. Every time I go out, I get one of my T-shirts on to subliminally begin to get the people into a kind of common place to put their consciousness, their perception,
Mhm.
that they have to think outside of the box because they don't want us to know what's really going on. And that's what my new webinar is going to be about. What's really going on? And Marvin Gaye is going to sing that.
Mm.
What's really going on? What are we dealing with? What's this about? Don't I promote this because this
Well,
is
a lot of people think you're totally anti cryptocurrency. So
no,
some
I'm not.
people might be confused that you have on an XRP shirt.
No. I'm not anti any of what it is we need to do to survive. Why would I
Mhm.
be that?
Mhm.
I'd be cutting off my nose to spite my face. And why would I tell people not to do things that would be able to help their families or to survive?
Right.
Every time I tell them, I said, switch your money out of the bank account because it's going to lose value. What's happening today? The very thing. I tell them, go ahead and get into gold or cryptocurrency. Now, getting ready. What did they do? They just introduced a bill into Congress, and I think it's bill number 9154, and it has to do with now backing the so-called Federal Reserve notes with gold, and now um, they're changing it from the what is it? It's no, what is it? What is this? 9157. They're changing it from the Federal Reserve note to the United States note, and everybody's, oh yeah, that's great. I was so happy. I said, fools. The word note still makes it a debt instrument. Now, if it said something like pay to the bearer on demand, or gold certificate, or silver certificate, like what Kennedy wanted to do before they killed him, now we're talking about it going back to the de jure constitution. But right now they keep talking about we going into backing ferns in order to put us back into the debt situation, just like the World Economic Forum ain't nothing but them regentrifying the same slave system that was in place that the Federal Reserve put in there in 1931. But what they're doing is going digital with it. Now, if you don't go in with it, you're crap out of luck. So what I'm saying is what's going on right now with the cryptocurrencies, you don't get too invested in it, but invest in it, because what it is what is known as a compelled benefit. In other words, you have no choice. So I say to the Moors and all the brothers and sisters who call me, what is your alternative to what's going on today? What's your dollar worth today with this doting idiot that's in the office? What's your dollar worth today at the gas pumps, at the supermarket? You have no control over the system that incarcerates and enslaves the entire planet at this time. There is going to be a breakaway soon, but not without the trauma necessary, like birth, what a woman would go through with birth, not without that trauma. And these devils up there in the high places, they're buying up land. They're creating conditions right now so that you don't survive beyond a certain point. And that's why I say you have to go off grid and do things off grid. Get your food off grid, get your water off grid, get your weaponry off grid, and get your money off grid, which is why I keep telling you about Glint, where you can buy gold and spend gold. Gold, if it's going to back XRP or XRP backing gold, is going to shoot through the roof to its actual charge. Now you can go up online and put in debt clock. Put in the debt clock.gov, I think. But debt clock, and you'll see in real time what the people in Wall Street are looking at, what the presidents look at, what the big wigs and the people who are the high financiers look at. And if you were to go all the way to the right of the debt clock, where it says silver and gold, the money that they tell you that the gold is worth today and the money they tell you that the silver is worth today is nowhere near the real cost. Gold is like $15,000 an ounce on the real debt clock on the private side. Silver is like what, 8,000, 6,000 an ounce? But they're telling you it's only worth like 1,000 or 2,000 here to the public side. China is now taking all the gold. China got most of the gold now. But you can buy your gold. You can have it shipped to you, which is what I recommend. But you can also put it up on a cyber base and take it out of Switzerland. Now, the one thing I don't like about this new reset is that I don't see anybody represented in the upper echelon from Africa or South America or any places where they're dark, brown, black people, which tells me this ain't nothing but a Rothschild, rumble. It's a rigged. And you got your boy Klaus Schwab, whose father was a Nazi and who actually was one of the people who set up an institution that actually was used as the headquarters for eugenics in Hitler's Germany. So Klaus Schwab is the one who told you you will own nothing and be happy. I don't know if people are thinking about that. They're not even paying attention to what these beasts are talking about. But what I want you to do is to start thinking about what you're going to do to survive inside of your enclave and to set up a network of people in your neighborhood, because you're going to need help. You're going to need to interface and to fellowship with people, not just if you want to act globally, they say act locally. Find out who thinks like you, who knows what time it is, and begin to prepare. Move your money out of the major banks and into things like Glint, into the cryptocurrency, off the grid when they switched and they bring in the new financial system. I'm sorry, I'm ranting off.
No, Doc. This is we all need this. This is excellent. I mean, that's why I wanted you to go off. That's why I put you on a. One question I want to ask before we continue with the financial aspect of the show is, because our people have because of what they have done with fiat and with the dollar and with the financial system all over the world, people have a bad relationship with money, especially conscious people. We view it as extremely evil. We don't view the people running it. We view the idea of money as extremely evil. But the concept of money seems to emulate the concepts of water. which we
Indeed.
just finished talking about. The concept of water isn't evil, so how could the concept of money be evil? So for those who view money as evil, and for us that don't have a good relationship with money, which is a lot of us in this community, how did the initial concept of money come to be so close to the initial concept of water before it went wrong? Talk to me about money and water, Doc.
But that's why what's happening with the world today is the lack of liquidity.
Mm-hmm,
What is liquid? Liquid is water.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so because the banks now are suffering for liquidity, XRP is going to step into the void and afford the liquidity. Now, it's this is a rotating thing that a lot of people will not be understanding, so I'm going to go into it. If you wanted to say send money from here where you are in New York or wherever, say you want to send it to Great Britain, for you to send the dollar into the pound, the bank at England had to hold on to dollars that were at the same amount to cover, to make sure that the transaction went through. It was called a nostro vostro account. Your account had my money in it, my account had your money in it. That way, you made sure that the transaction between these two areas would be insured. But the problem with that is it took days because the people who ran the banking system used to pimp the dollars and then send it through 6 and 7 different banks around the country before it got to its destination. And everybody got a piece because once that money hit your account, the interest started building up. So what's locked away in all these banks around the world right now is trillions upon trillions of dollars in the what they know as nostro vostro account, your account, my account. When XRP goes live and they pull the switch, XRP will release those trillions of dollars. And then all the banks would then would have all that money that accrued over the last 70 years. And the prosperity would be just booming. XRP is the new money system for the next 25 to 50 years.
Wow.
And what it is doing, it's creating what is known as the liquidity necessary to cover the insurance of transactions. And where it took a week, 3 days, a week, where it takes Bitcoin like 6 to 8 hours, the transaction between banks with XRP is virtually seconds, 2 to 4 seconds. Nothing beats it. And they have others that are creating the liquidity in different venues. There are 3 of them. There's XRP, XLM, and XDC. And they work with one another, but they don't step on each other's toes because they each do something different. But they do it together to form the kind of liquidity and fast, what they call, it's not only the transaction of the money, but the finalization of it, that what they call, I'll get the word because I'm not into banking. I'm just learning as everyone else is. But settlement, it's called. That's the word. It not only transfers the money, but it settles debts in an instant. And what the reason why it's taking so long for us to transit to that is because the beast is now creating in all of the major banks what they call CBDCs, which is the central bank digital currencies. These are going to be the new slaver coins because once they activate those CBDCs, they're going to know everything about you when you make a transaction because it's going up on the blockchain. They're going to know everything you do. They're going to know where you spent, how much you spent, who you spent it with, what was the purpose of the spending. And in Canada, they ran the first test where they shut down the people's cryptocurrencies. and didn't allow them to get into it, which is why it's necessary for you to take your cryptocurrency and put it into an off ledger so that they can't get at it. Because when it's on these platforms, they can still shut it down.
Right, right.
So I'm just giving you as much as possible an understanding that the new financial system is to provide liquidity where liquidity has dried up from the old system.
Mm.
And what they're doing now is printing a whole ton of money in order to create the liquidity, which is driving up all the prices. And that's where you're getting your inflation. But they don't want it now. It's going to get to that point where it's going to get to a recession, you see. And that's what they want to prevent, because the SEC, who's working for the parasitic elite, don't want the XRP because we got some of it. And that's why I'm telling you, if you're going to get your XRP, don't spend it. Don't convert it back to fiat. Why? Because fiat is not what's worth it. You wait around and you learn how to stake it, how to put it into the bank or to a reputable organization that is vetted and is regulated, and then have those XRP and those cryptocurrency working for you by giving you the interest. And you live off the interest. You never have to spend it.
That's called staking.
It's called staking. And I'm trying to tell a lot of the young brothers, especially ones that starting out, who want